Hello guys, I'm Bear and welcome to Bear Talk. Today I would like to share a book about interviewing users to you. Yeah, the name of the book is Interviewing Users. But before that, I would like to share of my personal story at first. It was about 12 or 13 years ago. At that time, I was a graphic designer and it was my first job as a designer. I didn't know any difference between clients and customers because at that time I thought they are the same. And my boss is the art director of a design agency, and all I have to do as my job is to provide something he satisfied, that he will show, okay, that is a great design, or no, this is not good, go back and do it again. Yeah, it's like he is the only one who can validate if my design is good or not. And then a few years ago, about 2010, I started my own design agency in China, and I need to go out to talk to different clients. At that time, I think clients and customers actually the same because we were providing design solutions for the clients, but some of them are just for like events or other projects, not engaged with actual customers, which is more like a B2B products. So at that time, I have some experience of client-facing negotiation and conversation, and I found people skills, especially when you need to negotiate with clients, is very important. Besides that, clients' needs are so different, and you need to find what they actually want behind behind the conversation, and this is really hard. And now, as a product or as a digital designer, it's kind of like my third level at this stage here in New Zealand, and I found actually talking to actual users are much more important for all the designers. They need to know. Sometimes we just misunderstood the difference between the customers and clients, like the second stage of my design journey. At that time, I thought clients are our customers, but actually sometimes, especially for the digital products, the people who are going to use the product, they are the customers or they are the users. The people who developed or they create the product, they invest the product, they are the clients for the digital agency. So they are not a customer, and their perspective, their knowledge, their experience are totally different. And you need to make the customer happy at first. If customer happy, and the clients will be happy, and you will be happy too because they are going to pay you enough money. So it is essential for the designers to understand their users who use their product, who going to use their design, who's going to interact their design solutions. And so this is kind of like my personal journey. At first, I don't think I need to know who's going to use it, or I don't think that's quite necessary to have a deep understanding of the people who's going to use your product. But now I think it is essential. And who's going to have this like interview skills? I think if you are providing product or solution for people, you actually need to understand these people, aka users. And how could I understand someone like our users, what they are thinking about and why they are choose their why they have their like solution, or what's the pain point for them. By what method could you understand them? The best way is to talk with them, and to which is interview users. That is I think that is the essential skills for all the content creators, marketers, designers, even developers. Yeah, all the people who was involved in this workflow need to understand them. So this book, Interviewing Users, provides a really rich experience. Is or a lot of examples, tips, and how to approach it for you to get prepared for an user interview. Before I go deeper about this part, I need to clarify that user interview here is not like user testing. It's not like usability testing, because we as a designer, we always think talking to users means validate your solution, your concepts. That is the user testing part. But interviewing users is about exploring something, exploring insights. So, which I think is more related in the first stage of all the projects. Yeah. So about this book was written by Steve Portigal, and he's an expert in researching field, and also has a lot of experience about interviewing users. And in this book, you can see a lot of case studies, and with some of them are really really interesting, and some war stories are quite interesting to learn. And also he provides heaps of tips in the book. And let me share a few tips from the book. The first one I can think which impressed me is about when you do a user interview in the field, which means in their context, like at their home or at the office, in the office, yeah, while they are using your product. You don't need to go to the user interview in the field with a strong point of view, which means you don't go there to validate your conception. It's about exploration. Okay. And also he mentioned that when you do the user interview, you need to ask the question for which you think you already know the answer. That is quite important, because sometimes we think the answer is too simple to ask, or you think probably that's a stupid question to ask, make you seem quite stupid. But actually, user interviewing is essential for you to find out I think the gap between your understanding and users' understanding for the same thing, and that's quite interesting. So yeah, ask the simple and easy questions, but probably the answer will surprise you. And also find stories, because stories stories is the best way to empathize with the users. And if you find user stories you can remember, that will impress you when you reflect the story, when you tell the story to the teams or to the stakeholders later. It will make them impressed too, if it impressed you at first. All right. And also I think it's about user interview, there will be some awkwardness, so don't be afraid of awkwardness, because it's not like a daily conversation. It's about to find some problem, so there will be some awkward. Don't be afraid of it. And also try to embrace the active silence, Sometimes when we have conversation with other people, it's quite awkward or make people not feel comfortable about the silence. If there is a big gap, we're trying to say something like the weather or something to fill the gap. But during the interview, sometimes you can use silence as a tool, which can encourage the user to talk more about something he already talked. Maybe it will help you to dig something from the different perspective. Yeah, it's like, and sometimes silence is not just a blank silence, because you can use your eye contact or gesture or nodding your head to encourage the users to say something more about it. Yeah, this is what I learned. The most important things I've learned from this book. Yeah, and there will be a lot of approaches and heaps of advices from this book. So this is the things I can share in this short video. But if you want to know more, probably just read the book or listen to the author's podcast. He also had a podcast. I will add it in the show note in below. And yeah, from this book is about, from the researcher's perspective, how to do an user interview from the beginning to the end. And for me as a designer, I think I prefer to divide user interview process into 3 different stages. So it's like before means preparation, in the field means just on the spot, okay, and after that, which means the reflect or report stage. So I would like to use 3 different movies to stand for each stage. The first one is before the interview, and I use Ocean's 11 for this part. So which means you need to prepare it carefully. You can divine the questions or the things you would like to know, or the background, the profile of the interviewees. Like you can divide all the things as different steps and try to do some research about each step, like the scenario or the context, or yeah, all the things. You can do a lot of research, and the more you do, the more confident you will be during the interview, right? So this is the first stage. And the second stage, when you go in the field, I use the movie Free Solo for that, because normally before any interview, when I was going to talk to an user or potential clients, I would like to write some notes about the things I'm going to talk. But I found that the best result is that I let go of that note. I just don't take it out. You know what I mean? Because probably you will prepare 10 questions, but actually you only have time to ask 5 or 3 or even just 2 or just not as much as 10. And by that scenario, I think you will definitely remember the most important questions you would like to ask. Just stay focused on these questions and just let go of the note and use your curiosity to guide you for the next question, and be prepared for the follow-up questions. And normally you will find that that will be better to build a relationship between you and the users. It's like create a rapport between you two, okay, and that feeling is quite good. So sometimes you can just try to go free solo, which means just let go of your note. And the third stage is about reflect or report. I would like to use another movie, The King's Speech, for this step, which means you did a lot of research, and you've got a lot of data from the users, like the raw data, photos, audios, videos, things like that. And this part about to show the result to the team, to the stakeholder, to your clients. And I think the best way is to share it by story and trying to create some, impressed story from the user's perspective. And the best way to deliver the report is by storytelling. And I think that's quite important as a designer, to make it quite not always emotional, but just make it from the user's perspective. Okay, so probably it's not going to work for all the project, but that's my personal choice. Ocean's 11, Free Solo, and The King's Speech. Alright, so this is the book review. Actually, it's quite informal book review for the book Interviewing Users. I hope you like it, and if you want to read more about this book, just buy the book and read it, or just check the author's other book or his podcast, Steve's podcast. Alright, thanks for listening and watching. Hope you find it helpful for you, and if you like it, please leave a comment or just share it with your friend. I will see you in another video. Bye.